Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for holding this hearing. I've been closely monitoring the implementation of the relief programs, the various relief programs Congress has established, and I have to say I'm thrilled given last week's job numbers. I think that the PPP has played a vital role, has been a vital lifeline during the shutdowns, has clearly helped to stop the economic hemorrhaging and put us in a place now for recovery. And so that is, I think, a great success story. And I want to thank the chairman for his outstanding work on this. I do have some questions about the EIDL that, following up on what Senator Rosen was just asking about. I'm going to come back to those. Let me start, Administrator Carranza, with you. Just on the Planned Parenthood issue. Planned Parenthood has 16,000 employees. This is not a gray issue. It's a black and white issue. They talk about it in all of their organizing documents. I'm just wondering, when 37 Planned Parenthood offices, 37 separate offices applied for PPP funds, why did the internal system at the SBA not flag the applications?
Senator, our system accepts application and assigns a loan number, and the loan arrangement is made between the borrower and the lender. So when you have about 5 million applications being injected into our system, we don't have a system that flags affiliations or any particular industry. It just assigns a loan number, and that's why it's very important for us that when we looked at sectors, and some sectors had certain tendencies and certain loan values, we then, and the affiliations were one of them, we started to assess, the value of how they exercised or interpreted the
So what you're telling me is that the SBA didn't have any safeguards in place on this particular question. I mean, you didn't have any system in place to flag applications like
at that given time. That's correct.
Despite the fact, I might add, that the affiliation rule was pretty fiercely debated as part of the PPP package, as part of the CARES package, amended several times. Tell me about the Planned Parenthood affiliates that wrongly receive funds. How many of those has SBA contacted now?
At this point, I wouldn't be able to speak about a particular loan situation.
Why?
It's proprietary information, and it's...
I'm not asking about a loan situation. I'm asking how many you've contacted. The SBA's put out a statement saying that you've contacted the affiliates. You've sent letters. That's been publicly reported.
Yes,
how
no.
many?
The office did receive your letters, and we acted accordingly. But at this point, giving the detail on a particular borrower would just not be appropriate.
So you can confirm for the record that you've sent letters to Planned Parenthood affiliates, but you won't tell us how many? That's your testimony?
No, I'm saying that the affiliation or any borrower that we are taking a course of action is that indeed, and I don't talk about the particulars.
How many Planned Parenthood affiliates have returned the funds?
Again, I have to take the position that I'm not able to share that borrower information at this
When are you
point.
going to be able to? And how are we going to conduct oversight if you won't give us any of this
I look forward to
information?
speaking with you in your,
I'm
meeting
sorry?
with you. I look forward to meeting with you and discussing the situation, but at this point, I won't be able to speak to it publicly.
Well, what's different between discussing it with me in person and discussing it here when you're under oath?
Just to clarify, again, the SBA position, I wouldn't be able to divulge any of the details, or just explain what our practice and our policy is.
Well, how are you going to provide this committee with information about this breach of the rules that are in the statute so that we can conduct oversight? How are we going to conduct our oversight if we don't know any of the details? And since you won't do it now, when will you do it? When will you? What are the guidelines that you will follow in disclosing this information?
Well, Senator, what I would like to do is to review with you the controls that we've put in place and the course of action that we take with all affiliations, not just this
Okay,
particular.
we'll follow up with you. For the record, I'd like to state, it is important that this committee conduct its oversight of rules that are written in the statute. And I want answers about how Planned Parenthood, which is forbidden by the statute that this Congress wrote and passed into law. It's not a rule. It's not a regulation. It's in the statute. I want to know how it happened that $80 million was diverted to Planned Parenthood affiliates that is plainly not permissible under the statute. This committee has an obligation to perform oversight, and I want answers on that. And I will not accept that you can't tell us or that you don't know. So I want answers. So we will follow up with you. We'll follow up with the Department of Justice. But I'm just saying for the record, it will not be acceptable to me that you're not going to tell us, you're not going to get back to us, you're not going to be responsive.
No,
And
Senator,
frankly, the pattern of unresponsiveness from the SBA throughout this process has been disturbing, which I've said for the record, and I'll say it again today, and I'm disturbed by it. Mr. Chairman, one other question, if I could, just
Senator
on
Hawley, if I
the,
may,
I've got
just
to
wanted to
move
let
on.
you
You've
know
made your
that
position
I
clear,
do
and you're
know
not
the
being
status of the
responsive. Let me ask you
evaluations,
another question
and I
while I've
look-
got you here. On the idle applications, you answered an earlier question that idle applications are now in the portal. I'd like to know the timeline of when they will be processed. I've had applicants in my state that have waited 80 days, 80 days, for any kind of a response on their idle application. Senator Rosen was just talking about this, similar problems in her state. When will they be processed? We have repeatedly asked for answers. They can't get answers. I can't get answers. When will they be processed, and when will these good folks get some response to their application?
Senator Hawley, I can extract all of the applications that pertain to your particular state, and I can review with you the status of them. At this current time, we have about 2.5 million applications that have been processed. There's a high number of declines. We are reinstating those particular declines once they fix their information. The other 2.5 will be injected by next week. So all of the 5.4 million applications that we had in the queue since March will now be in what we call the loan processing portal. I'll have visibility when that loan is positioned there, and I can share with you exactly where your loan portfolio stands.
My time has expired. I'll follow up with you on that. I just want to emphasize again that it is absolutely vital for people who have been waiting for 80 days plus that their application be processed. And they don't care what you label the queue. You're in this queue or that queue. They just want it processed. They need an answer. They're waiting on a vital lifeline. So we look forward to working with you on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.